Alan, significant developments today. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, there certainly has been further developments, Gail. I can tell you that Manchester United have submitted another bid for Bryan Mbeumo. It's the third bid, and this one is in the region of £65 million plus £5 million in add-ons. United's previous bid of £55 million plus £7.5 million in add-ons was rejected a couple of weeks ago by Brentford. Now, as it stands at the moment, there has not been a response from Brentford, but it does appear that Manchester United are certainly determined to get their man. But there are other factors in this possible move to Manchester United. The fact that Johan Visser is possibly another that could leave Brentford may well hinder the progress of this one. Newcastle look as though they may be in for Johan Visser following Liverpool's move for Hugo Ekitike. So there's lots involved, but our understanding is that Manchester United are the only club that Bryan Mbeumo wants to move to. Irrespective of the club's finishing positions in the Premier League last season, of course, Manchester United struggled for goals. They only scored 44 Premier League goals, their lowest league total since they were relegated from the top flight back in 1973-74 season. And Bryan Mbeumo certainly brings you goals, 20 Premier League goals he netted for Brentford last season. So there is a determination on Manchester United's part to get this deal concluded, and it does appear as though Bryan Mbeumo, who reported back for pre-season training this week with Brentford, is set on a move to Manchester United. And given, of course, the 4 Manchester United forward players that are pretty much in exile at the club, Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho and Anthony, then there is a real need for Ruben Amorim to bring in extra strength up front, and it does appear as though Bryan Mbeumo is the man for Manchester United.
Man United have made an improved bid to sign Bryan Mbeumo. Is it Mbeumo or Mbeumo? What are we saying here? Because I'm hearing different takes.
Mbeumo is how I've always been taught to say it, yeah. But this has been one of the sagas of the summer, hasn't it? I think it's over 40 days ago that we first reported Manchester United were stepping up their pursuit of Brentford's main goal scorer from last season. I was told 3 weeks ago by sources at Brentford that a medical was expected to take place. The two clubs were expected to come to an agreement. Here we are 3 weeks later, and that still hasn't happened. But there does seem to be positivity now on all sides. This deal will finally be agreed. £65 million guaranteed is Manchester United's third and probably final offer. There are some add-ons in the deal as well that would take it to £70 million. But I'm told those add-ons are not easily attainable. They're dependent on team success as opposed to personal achievement. Qualifying for the Champions League, I think, would net Brentford an extra few quid. And from Mbeumo's part, he's made it clear all the way along, despite interest from Newcastle and some tentative talk about Tottenham as well, that Manchester United are the club for him. I have got a little conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out here. It's July the 17th, and Mbeumo only returned to training with Brentford a few days ago after being given an extended summer break, if you like. So what Manchester United have done here by only making this third bid now is save themselves a couple of weeks' wages. If they'd signed him so that he came in on July the 1st, for example, they would have effectively been paying him decent money, in excess of £200,000 a week, I'm told, to not train for 2 weeks. So maybe there is a little bit of sensible negotiating that's gone on for Manchester United.
What about 70 million quid, Crookie? Value, or do you think that's a little bit too much? Where are you on that?
I think it's at the top end of what Manchester United wanted to pay, but Brentford saw what Matheus Cunha went for. They pointed out during negotiations that Mbeumo is younger than Cunha. He scored more goals in the Premier League last season than Cunha did for Wolves. So I think they wanted at least 62.5 million. As I say, the 65 goes slightly above that. You've seen Anthony Elanga go from Forest to Newcastle for a deal that could rise to 60 million. So that seems the going rate, doesn't it? And I think it's interesting, if you look at what Manchester United are doing so far this summer, with the two big signings they've made, Cunha and hopefully Mbeumo from a United perspective, they're targeting players proven in the Premier League. Now, if you look at their transfer business over the past few windows, that hasn't always been the case. They've taken a gamble on players like Rasmus Højlund, paid £72 million for him, unproven in the Premier League. Joshua Zirkzee, obviously a lot less than that last summer. But I think Ruben Amorim really wants players who are up to speed with what it takes to play in the Premier League and can hit the ground running, and they feel that Mbeumo will do that.
Interesting. On the subject then of Man United, can we speak about the players that might be going the other way then? Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Anthony. Garnacho linked to Aston Villa. Are we any further forward with that?
No, I think Villa are one of a number of clubs who are monitoring the situation. I wouldn't rule out Chelsea either, who obviously made inquiries about Garnacho in January, and I think he's still on their list. They can get players like Christopher Nkunku and maybe Nicholas Jackson off the payroll. I think Garnacho's preference is to stay in Europe and probably to stay in the Premier League. There is interest from Saudi Arabia, but it doesn't seem he's keen to make that move at this moment in time. And again, he is proven in the Premier League. I'd bracket him in the same category as Marcus Rashford, really, because what Manchester United's history and their DNA is built on is academy players coming into the first team and prospering. And the fact you've got two such players who are persona non grata, they've fallen out with the manager. I think they've alienated a lot of the fan base as well. I think that's quite a sad reflection on where they're at.
Where are we with Mbeumo? You've asked me this every week. I keep saying cautiously optimistic. I think United still think the deal will get done. They're still talking. They're still trying to figure out a way of meeting Brentford's asking price, whereby Brentford are happy and Manchester United do it as much on their terms as possible, because £65 million is a lot of money, full stop, but Brentford want the majority, if not all of that, guaranteed. So it's how Manchester United can get as close to that with the add-ons that are pretty much achievable, because at the moment, the last bid, the 55 plus 7.5, even though it's close to 65 million, clearly, A, it wasn't enough as an overall fee, and B, you would think that some of the add-ons Brentford probably didn't think were achievable. So I think United have still got a bit of work to do on this deal to make it agreeable for Brentford. They fly out to the United States on the 22nd. I still think they harbour a bit of hope that they can get this deal done before they fly out for that tour.
In a chance that